this is my 2018 Kawasaki. This is the Mule Pro DX. It's the Yanmar diesel. This has some options that we had the dealer install before we bought it. I did a review about a year ago, so you can look back to that. But just to recap real fast, I did the heavy-duty coil springs, the factory Kawasaki glass, the power dump bed, the Kawasaki accessory winch kit, worn plow kit, the Kawasaki accessory heater system. They have two heater systems. One is a little bit cheaper, and it kind of hangs out underneath the dash by the passenger feet. And then they have another one that's automotive style that's up under the hood. I have the better one, the up under the hood. I converted the headlights to LED, so it did some things to make it better. And then I also did a Raptor liner. I did this myself. I disassembled this whole bed wall system. Just simply on bolts takes 30 minutes. Takes the whole bed down to a steel plate, and then I Raptor lined that whole steel plate, put the bed back together a week later. So we've had it for a little bit over a year, and it's never broke, never had a problem. We've done some different work with it, and yeah, so we've never had any problems mechanically with it. It does everything we want to do. If you were to ask me to come up with my negative or negatives, let me try to think. I mean, the biggest negative that I can come up with is the gas version of this uses that Cherry gas engine. I guess it's a China-sourced engine that Kawasaki buys, and I guess a fairly decent engine. This uses a Yanmar diesel, and the Yanmar diesel, it pulls great. I mean, it has a lot of power at walking speed. What it doesn't do is accelerate on slopes, on hills. And I have another video I took with my phone when I was coming down here to start my fire. And you'll see that, level it goes fine, downhill it goes fine, uphill 6 to 9 mile an hour. And I'm not talking about hill climbing. I'm not talking about, where you're turning and burning and you're trying to climb something you're not sure you can make. I'm talking about slope trails that you're just going to drive up. That if I was in my old Yamaha Rhino, I'd be going 20 mile an hour up the hill, no problem, not thinking about it. This, you hold it to the floor, high or low range, doesn't matter. It's going to go around 8, 9 mile an hour. Add weight to it, less. It's going to go 5. If I put like my log splitter, I have a Woods, HLS 27 log splitter. It'll go 5 mile an hour up the hill that you'll see in the video. So that's the negative. The positive. The cab is beautiful. I did the seismic back wall, seismic doors, and the seismic cab with the foam pool noodles stuffed in around the gaps there does a fine job with the factory install or the dealer installed heater. That I could be out on a 10 degree or 5 degree Fahrenheit day wearing a hoodie like this, plowing snow, and I'm fine. It doesn't warm up fast. Okay, there's the negative. It doesn't warm up fast. I think the problem is it has such a heavy-duty cooling system on it that when you fire this thing up on 10 degree day, even though it's in my garage, which is kept at about 45 in the winter, you pull it outside and it generally doesn't like to make hot water. So you don't really get heat out of it well until you're plowing and you're holding it floored, pushing your loads of snow, and I have cardboard completely blocking the radiator, and I can get my heat out of it that way. But it's going to take 5 to 10 minutes before you really have much heat. And you can idle it. I've tried this. I've tried with the cardboard in front, start it up, go back in the house and drink one more cup of coffee, come out, nothing, no heat. The diesel just doesn't make that much heat, and diesel trucks are similar. That's why they put the like today's modern Cummins now, they put a 12-volt heating system in to heat the cab of the truck until the truck creates hot water, because diesels heat slow. So speed, that's a negative, and heat, that's a negative. As far as I have a Kubota B2650, and yesterday I was out doing some work with it, and what I needed to do was I was piling up sand. I needed to push it down over a hill about 20 feet, and it was a really steep hill that you could barely walk down. So what I did is I pulled winch cable on this, had my father in this, had me in the 2650 with the winch hooked to the front of the tractor, dropped my box blade, and I pushed the sand piles over the hill and down all the way till I got to the corrugated pipe down at the bottom. There was no way to get the B2650 out of there on its own, but my father in this put this in reverse, four-wheel drive, pulled a 4,000 pound tractor with loader and box blade, and I have 700 pound of weight and filled tires on it, and he pulls me back like I'm not there. So, you know, the grunt off the line to pull a load to fill this thing up with wood up to here, which I've done many times, it has no problem. So I don't have any strong negatives. Do I wish it was faster? I really do. I really wish it was faster. I mean, there was some fun. My dog, Red, get the hell out of the mud. He's rolling in the mud. But no, I wish there was more fun factor to it. I wish that there was some sport ability to it, even though it has the diesel. But I guess that's the compromise. If you want sport and fun and speed and snappy, you want to go playing with your friends that have other brands of ATVs, go buy the gas version. If you're only using it for moving dirt and gravel and rocks, and I use this with my backhoe on my Kubota or my loader on my Kubota, and I dig out French drains and stuff like that. This works excellent there. But man, it does sometimes leave you wanting. So you really, as a purchaser, if you're thinking about buying one, you better really do some soul searching. Or you're going to have buyer's remorse if you're stuck with a vehicle and you live in a hilly terrain like me in western Pennsylvania. That anytime you're on a hill, like say that you probably wouldn't want to ride a bicycle up. Call that where this thing really, really dies, right? If it's a hill that you would have to stand up on your bicycle and pump to get up the hill, and I'm not talking about a mountain bike, I'm talking just a regular BMX style bike. If you would have to stand and work to get up the hill, this thing's going to drop down to 7-8 mile an hour. So that's just what it is. All right, so I got to answer the phone. My wife is calling. It's money, and asshole Red decided there's a mud hole back behind the camp, like in the intersection where all three roads meet, or all four roads meet. He laid on his back and started squirming in the mud. So I'll just have you get on there. I have my speaker, I have my phone, I have fire burning, I have all the cardboard on. There on the table, there's a couple hot dog things, and that's it. What else is there? Oh, I got your beer and my beer. Yeah. Another cool thing, so something really cool about this. Well, I had the Rhino before, and it had the latches. I had the Rhino before this, and the Rhino had the tailgate latches that looked very similar to this, but these are, I don't know, I'm going to call them caged. Okay, and the reason I'm going to call it, when you drop this off on my Rhino, this wire that the latches in, this wire would swing out. So what you had to do was you had to push it over, push the ring back, and then bring it in. Okay. So this newer style that I had actually never seen these before I bought this. So you knock that one out, and you knock that one out, and they're stuck in a track. And as long as they're open all the way, the bed opens and closes. So you never have to worry about the ring, about this wire ring. You never touch it. So when you close the bed, you just hit them, and they're always going to engage and always going to lock. So that's kind of just a it's a minor thing. You don't think about it. Like when I was buying it, I saw it and I didn't think anything of it until you begin using this, doing French drains and stuff, and you're in and out and latching and unlatching, and you realize, man, how cool that is. That really works nice. So that's cool. And then also they have the headache rack up in front of the seating area. So they have steel bars right here behind this plastic. Okay, so there's like You have the plastic walls that you see, which are, there's steel bars that they're attached to. You have steel bars up behind that. There's about a 4-inch gap between the bed part. You see the plastic wall there? That's what goes up with the bed. But then they installed that other headache rack into the roll cage. So you can stack firewood up to the roof line and kind of like bring your stacks a little bit shorter as you come back. And you don't have to worry about anything coming through the cab because you have that wall of steel up there that really does a good job. Now, where you have to be careful loading firewood especially is that if you load firewood and you're stacking it up to here, you can't let any of the firewood get caught in here because this bed will start to rip this apart. The power of the hydraulic bed lift is just too much. So you have to make sure you keep a little bit of a gap, and before you start to lift, if you've moved, you want to make sure that you verify that your load hasn't shifted forward and gotten any sticks or logs catching under this. But yeah, that's my like I said, my biggest caveat is the speed thing, and that's what only you can decide if that's a deal breaker or not. Other than that, it is an awesome work machine, and you could chain anything behind it and floor it. It might not go fast, but it's going to spin the tires, and it's either going to spin the tires and dig a hole, or it's going to move whatever you chain to the back of it. The Yanmar diesel has started flawlessly, no matter if it was inside, outside, hot or cold. It has never overheated, given any impression that it was unhappy doing anything. It can work on a 100-degree, 95-degree day, hauling piles of shell and dirt and clay stacked up like this, dumping it, no problem. I can dump anything I'm willing to stack up in here, it's willing to dump. So the dump system works well. It's a electric over hydraulic system, unlike Kubota, which actually has a built-in HST pump that it taps off of to get hydraulic pressure. This uses a electric over hydraulic cylinder, similar to what's on a snowplow on the front of a pickup truck. But yeah, I'm happy with the machine, and sometimes like I said, the speed. That's it. That's all that's the only real negative is the speed. I wish it had a front locker. Yeah, who builds an off-road work machine that's to be used in muck and mud and hauling loads and on hills, and does not install at least a limited slip front, if not an electric locker? So this has an open rear differential. Hit a button and it locks solid. Hit another button for 4-wheel drive. You can do locked rear 2-wheel drive, locked rear 4-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive without locking anything. So you have your selection there, but you can never lock the front wheels. You will always, whatever front tire doesn't have traction, that's the tire that gets all of the propulsion or power, is the one that is doing the least for you. The tire that has the most weight on it and the most traction on it will sit there and do nothing while you spin the other tire. It's very frustrating for a machine that's built and designed only for off-road use. Should never build one without a locking front differential, or at a minimum, a clutch style limited slip, right? So there's that. All right, 2018 Kawasaki Mule Pro DX ESP, electronic power steering, EPS, electronic power steering. Would not buy it without the power steering. Would think about buying it without the diesel if I was doing it again. Hard to say. All right, you decide, you make the purchase. Let me know. Figured I'd do a once around here on the Mule. So it's the diesel 4x4 Kawasaki. It is the EPS, electronic power steering. It is the Pro DX. Like I told you, I have the worn 4,000 pound winch, the Pro Vantage, and I did convert over to a Amazon sourced 7,000 pound rated synthetic rope. I think it was like 39 bucks or something like that. I do have the factory glass windshield there. I did buy the Ricochet off-road right there. That's the Ricochet off-road armor. So that's what you see there for my shaft and CV guards. I have all 4 corners with the Ricochet armor. I did LED headlights. Let me see, can you see them in there? So I put LED inserts off of Amazon. They're amazingly bright. We have the seismic soft doors. Sorry, I have a fire burning over here and the smoke's coming. So I have the seismic soft doors. That's this assembly. I have the seismic aluminum lifetime mirrors. Here is how seismic handles this. Is you have to bore a hole in here, and when you push this, as you push that, let's see if you can see that. You see what it does? The rod pushes the handle out and unlatches for you. I have the seismic back wall right there. So of course the back wall window unzips. This window unzips. You can also throw this latch right here into that position, which grabs this bar, pulls the top in tight. Now another thing that I did was I went on Amazon and I ordered some adhesive backed foam sealer, and I filled in the gaps. Okay, so what that does is, you see I have a piece right here also. Alright, so and then I have the pieces on the door. So instead of having just a giant gap now, you see what that did? So I closed in most of that gap. And then it also, I did the same thing in here. Okay, so as you close that, there used to be a big gap here, and I closed in the majority of that, and I did that on both doors. So you'll see right there's the foam coming down. Okay, and there's the dashboard. There's your heater. You've got your high and medium and low, your winch in and out, headlight off, headlight standard, high beam, 4-wheel drive, 2-wheel drive. Listen. Lock. So you hear that locking? I have my phone's charging, that's why the ignition's turned on right now. And I did buy quad gear. I believe this was off of Amazon, but this is the seat covers. The seat material, the vinyl, feels very soft and supple, and it feels like my dogs would tear it up easily. So I bought these seat covers on Amazon and put these on. I don't think they were expensive. If I remember correctly, they were, I don't know, 40, 60 bucks. Not a big deal. And this way, if the dogs do jump in here, they're jumping into this more robust material. So, okay, you see this bar here? If you come around, that bar is right here. Okay, this has the steel crossbar, steel bar, and then the steel headache rack. And this is what I was telling you about protecting everything. So these bed sides are all steel framed in. So the plastic on the outside is just for looks. And then, you know, the major load-bearing part is the steel framework that you can see the screws, everything's bolted to steel. Then the plastic, you know, the steel is all bolted to the bed floor, and then the plastic is bolted to the steel. And this is where my switch is for my bed. Okay. So this is the electric over hydraulic piston, and there's your Yanmar diesel, and there's their system that they added the plating in. You see the 2 bolts down here, 2 bolts up here, joined by some nice heavy plate, and that's what you're actually lifting from. And all right, there you go. That's my Kawasaki.